It's the Blues Rock Show with Pete Francis and Willie Witten.
Welcome to the Blues Rock Show. Pete Francis alongside Willie Witten. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get all the latest videos. And Willie, today we're going to kick things off with Larkin Poe because they've got a new album coming out. Actually, their second album that they've released this year, but it's an all covers album. So what I want to know from you, do you like when artists release all covers albums?
I more than like it. I love it. I think it's great. I think that anytime you can get in covers in music is wonderful, provided that the song is good. The songs are good. That assumption aside, I think it's great because music is unique in an art form in that way, in that you can cover songs. You don't typically, unless you're translating languages, you don't typically cover somebody else's book or cover someone else's painting. So it's one of the great things about music that's unique. And so I'm always happy to see it whenever people take advantage of it. I took a look at the list of their songs. It's diverse, which is also great. The songs themselves are worth the listen. What they do with them, who knows, but I'm excited. There's a Robert Johnson, I think a Hellhound on My Trail, all the way up to a Post Malone song, a Lenny Kravitz song. We got Neil Young in there. That's pretty awesome. I'm excited for it because I do love them. And there's been some great covers albums in the past. So I wish people did more of this. It's great on so many levels. Do you agree with me? Am I being a little bit too excited about this, Pete? What do you think?
For me personally, I'm generally not a huge fan of covers albums because if I really like an artist, I want to hear their original material. However, in this case, my opinion is a little different because they've already put out an original album this year. And Larkin Poe is a band that's really gotten known and has made a name for themselves by putting out covers. They've been very successful with covers, and what they're doing by putting out covers is bringing in a lot of new fans, which is definitely a good thing that they're getting more people listening. And when I look at the track list for Kindred Spirits, there's a lot of songs on there that are older songs, right?
Yes.
So they're going to bring in a lot of new fans, a younger generation that hasn't heard a lot of these songs. Even take an artist like Lenny Kravitz. They covered his version of Fly Away, right?
Right.
That song was a huge hit when I was a kid. But when you think about it, is anyone under the age of 25 today? Have they even heard that song?
I would say
that was a huge hit.
It was huge. Maybe on a commercial, maybe, and then they'll wonder who that is. No, I see what you're saying. Certainly it can be a little bit disappointing when artists are releasing a covers album as, hey, this is our great new album. I get what you're saying there. You're right. This is really their second. They did a twofer this year. And yeah, they're bringing in people. And I guess I forget. I talk about Post Malone, and that is pretty much in the moment. But yeah, right. Lenny Kravitz is, maybe to us, that sounds in the moment, but that is now something you'll hear on classic rock. And we don't even have to talk about Neil Young, or I think there's a Phil Collins song on there as well. I don't know. Anything, I might sound like a broken record on this, but anything that brings people into some of these old classics is great. You never know who you're going to convert. I think it's wonderful. And Larkin Poe, I think, has a distinct band ethos and sound. And so I think they have that ability to make it worth the listener's while. I think the songs will sound new coming through them.
Right.
So for them, I think it's cool because they are outside the box as it is in a way. So it's going to make those songs feel a little bit new as opposed to a rock band doing a rock cover, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do like the choices here because they are going for older songs for the most part. I think that's a really great choice for them. So yeah, I think this is a good album for me personally. Usually with covers, I like when artists pick a little more obscure covers, generally covers that I haven't heard before, because then it's still kind of a new experience. I think that's something that Joe Bonamassa did a lot of.
Yes.
Earlier in his career, he was taking songs that were a little more obscure, not super well known, and kind of making them his own. A perfect example of that is when he covered Slow Gin.
Yes.
That wasn't a really well-known song. He kind of did a cover, made it his own. But I think what you alluded to, Larkin Poe kind of does the same thing with their covers. So they're a lot different. So for them, I think it's a great idea to do a covers album.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I like their style.
So, Willie, recently it was announced that there's going to be a movie made on BB King, and Wendell Pierce has been cast to play BB King. What are your thoughts on the casting, and what would you like to see in a BB King movie?
I think the casting is great. I love Wendell Pierce. I know for a lot of people, it could be hard for them to step away from seeing him as Bunk from The Wire, but honestly, he's such a good actor. I think it's a great choice for casting. I think he's so versatile. What I'd like to see is the same things I'd like to see in any documentary. I hope it's a documentary that's honest. I hope it is not too filtered. And I guess I wonder, I have some questions because when we do a music documentary at any time, you wonder how much of it's going to be about the story of his life. What time period will we focus on, or will we focus on the whole span of his life? And really, how much of it will involve music, and who's going to play said music? Will they go the sort of Elton John Rocket Man route where the music is new and re-recorded? Or will they do more of the Queen take on it that was released recently within the past couple of years? That one was using the old recordings. I don't really know, but I'm looking forward to it. And I'm also looking forward to see who else gets casted in some of these other places for some of these other historical music figures that BB King had different relationships with professionally and personally. So I'm excited. Do you think that this is the right move to cast Wendell Pierce, Pete? Or do you think they should have gotten someone who was a guitar player first?
No, I think it was a good casting. I'm kind of interested to see what the story is going to be, because from the sounds of it, Wendell Pierce actually tweeted out that this is not actually a biopic.
Okay.
So I'm kind of interested to see the direction that they go with it. Apparently, the producer of the film, this film's kind of inspired on his relationship that he had with BB King. So I'm kind of interested to find out what that's all about. And then the other question is, does it just focus on one portion of his life? Obviously, Wendell Pierce is, what is he, around age 60 or somewhere in that ballpark?
In that ballpark, yeah.
So
that's a good point.
What time duration are we talking about here? For me personally, watching a BB King movie, I'd kind of like to see him in his younger years coming up and kind of dive into his background coming up, so to speak. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what direction they go.
That's a good point, Pete. I hadn't really thought about that. The fact that right off the bat, we're speaking Wendell Pierce as BB King. I guess maybe you just answered perhaps some of my question of what time period are we looking at? So if we're to do a little bit of basic sleuthing, I think we can say that we're going to be looking at least towards more of the adult BB King. But I agree with you, Pete. For the little that I know about his early childhood, and I think a lot of it is apocryphal because he's so famous and so big that, of course, there's going to be all sorts of different takes on stories and a little bit embellishment. I'm more interested in the earlier stuff because I know less about it.
Right.
Perhaps it's just unknown. Either way, it's certainly intriguing. And, he's one of the three kings, as, the cliche goes. And he's such a big part of American music now in the blues scene. I think this is long overdue. I hope I'm not disappointed.
And hopefully it brings more people into the genre.
Yes. Once again, I think that's always a great idea. And I think at the very least it will. I think it's slated for release sometime in mid to late 2021. Who knows?
Yeah, and this has been long overdue. They actually started the process of this film back in 2011, I believe. So it's been a long time coming for it.
I'm excited.
So, Willie, our next topic is reaction videos. And I kind of want to get your reaction to reaction videos. Now, if you're not familiar with a reaction video, it's basically there are YouTubers out there and they'll play a music video and then they sit back and they watch it and they react to it and maybe they'll critique it. And a lot of these videos have done very, very well on YouTube. A lot of these videos have hundreds of thousands of views just watching somebody react to somebody's music. So Willie, what are your thoughts on reaction videos?
Well, I think first of all, it's a little ironic because really when you think about what a reaction video is it's watching someone react to a video that they're watching. And really now, to really get meta, we are going to react to the people reacting to the people who are reacting to the videos. Are we still here?
No.
Okay,
I'm
we have
gone.
entered the Matrix. This is
But keep talking.
We are in the 2020 Matrix here. On in all seriousness, I don't get it. I don't
get it either.
But, broken record again. It's bringing people in. Here's what I did, just because I took a look and it's not something that comes to be something part of my life. I'm not seeking this out, but because it is popular now, I took a look because I was curious. And two of the biggest people, it's two young men who are twins. They are very famous for doing this. And I guess one of the big ones was In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins, their reaction to that video. And I went to go check it out on YouTube. And what I put in on YouTube was Phil Collins. That's it. Phil Collins is what I put into the YouTube search engine. And I don't search for him often at all because
you don't.
I was more of a Peter Gabriel guy when we talk about Genesis. Well, that's neither here nor there. What's really striking to me is that whether you and I are looking for this stuff or not, somebody is. And by somebody, I mean several tens of millions of people, because Phil Collins, those two words brought up a list. And number 5 on the list was the reaction video to In the Air Tonight. So I guess in one word, my reaction to the reaction videos is befuddled, but I can't deny it.
I'm kind of befuddled too, but here's what I will say about it. Once again, I think it's bringing in a lot of people to music they haven't heard before. Because right now you'll see reaction videos to Stevie Ray Vaughan or Hendrix. And supposedly these people have never heard their music before. So they're reacting to them the very first time. And I think the audience for this tends to skew younger. So once again, what you're doing is you're bringing in more people to it.
Right.
I think one of my issues with reaction videos is they seem a bit contrived. A lot of the time you're watching it and they're just like, and they're just bobbing their head around. And I don't know, is that what you do, Willie, at home when you're listening to music? Like, are you really like that kind of over the top? I don't know. It's just, it seems a little unnatural and forced to me.
Well, Pete, if you were to be paying more attention to this trend, you'll see that I'm one of the top 5 most famous for my reaction videos. So I don't know. No, I don't. I agree with you. I think it's a fine line. I think that the bobbing of the head and just getting into the music is probably most reactions to hearing a song for the first time. I mean, I remember songs coming on the radio when I was younger. I didn't like hit the gas in the car and crash into a wall. I was so excited. So I think natural reactions aren't as dramatic as what you see. So on one hand, I think that maybe they're a little dull, but on the other hand, to make them worth watching, there's going to be a little bit of over exaggeration. When I first saw them, my first instinct was to rip on them because I just want to be that old man yelling at the kids in that sort of way because I hold music dear to me. But at the same time, I saw these two twins, these two young men, and they've got all the best intentions, in mind, and they're fun about it, and they're bringing people to music.
Here's what I'll say. So I was not a huge fan at first, but as I kind of dived deeper and watched a little bit more, some of them I do actually like. And the ones that I like is when you have like a guitarist that's reacting to it.
Okay.
And he'll have the guitar in his hands. And then he'll start playing things or explain things that they're playing. I find that interesting and a little more engaging as opposed to just straight up watching somebody nod their head and smile for 45 seconds while they listen to someone's song.
Sure, I can see that. That's a little more involved and educational. And
yeah,
you know what? It's about this new interaction with everything. And foreign to me, maybe. I'm sure one day I'll come around. I said I would never get a cell phone. How do you think that worked out?
Hey, but the bottom line is they're bringing more people in and they're getting more people listening to the music. So, hey, that's a good thing.
That's a win.
All right, Willie, any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
Not really. I got to get back to my adoring populace. I got to go check out some reaction videos and make a few myself. I've decided
maybe someone can post a reaction video to us reacting to reaction videos.
The rabbit hole. We're going right down it. I want to see how many layers deep we can get, Pete. So I guess anyone watching, feel free to post your reaction to our reaction to their reaction onto a music show.
And before you do that, leave us your reaction in the comments with what you think of this video and what you think of reaction videos. But for now, he's Willie Witten. I'm Pete Francis. This is the Blues Rock Show. Make sure to like this video and, of course, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And until next time, we'll see you later.